Hey everyone, I wanted to talk really quick about vulnerability. Vulnerability in life is really important, yet our ego sees vulnerability as the number one mainstream enemy to life itself. Now, the reason the ego sees vulnerability as an enemy is because you're actually speaking from your heart and not your head. And that is what makes you vulnerable because the heart speaks from a different place without judgment, whereas the mind is in complete judgment most of the time. That's why it's the number one enemy. Yet, when you're in any kind of conflict with anybody, it is really important to be vulnerable because if you can be open and honest, then the conflict will in time resolve because you can have open communication, which is coming with your partner or whomever, which is coming directly from your heart and not so much your mind. As long as you can understand each other and there's a mutual respect in the conversation and you're not jabbing at each other, then you can be vulnerable and really come to some conflict resolution. Now, I really like this spiritual guru that I watch, and I really like her. Her name is Teal Swan, and she talks about conflict and how when you become defensive, you become its rigidness. And she says how relationships, when somebody is being defensive and they're not being vulnerable, it's a state of survival, and they actually feel justified, good, and like they've won over the situation, which does make a lot of sense because you're not letting yourself, your body, anything, be really honest about those deep feelings and why the conflict arose anyways. I mean, we all conflict with each other. It's inevitable because our values are going to be different. We get into arguments and there is conflict, but ultimately you want conflict resolution. I mean, that's what we're here for. Is we're here to learn off of that, the situation that you were arguing about and conflicting on with the other party. The resolution is required in order to move forward. If there's no resolve, then you kind of become stuck. Now, if the other person doesn't want to resolve that conflict, you may just have to go deeper within yourself and learn more about you and where that conflict, how it affected you, where it came from. And I talk a lot about your inner child, and usually it comes from your childhood, but you'll just have to do all that learning on your own. And that's not a bad thing because it really forces you to go in deeper and resolve the issue so that you can move forward, because if you don't resolve those issues, you can't move forward. So anyways, that's it. All I wanted to say was that vulnerability is a really good thing. Be vulnerable. Don't be afraid of it. If your partner feels a sense of, oh, I win now because this person is being vulnerable, well, then let them. Then you know that there isn't going to be no resolution, and you have to go and seek that resolution within yourself. And I'm telling you, that is the best experience you may have, is to really just dig deep and figure things out, because the last thing you want to feel is like you've been blamed for everything. It's the most horrible feeling, especially when you feel like that from someone whom you love or loved or whatever. And if you have to go deep down and find it yourself, because I guarantee you, I promise you, it wasn't all you. There's always a combination of different factors that the other person brings. And of course, it's you too. It's usually 50-50. So be vulnerable. Let that ego go and speak from your heart. It's a good thing. And in the future, that no power over anybody and learning about yourself is going to do you a lot of good. All right, we'll chat later. Bye.